Shalom, shalom. Um, I'm back with another video today. I have things a little bit different than before. Today is officially the second day of the first month of Aviv, according to the calendar that I showed you on yesterday. And so I'm just going to go over some of the things that Abba brought to my attention yesterday, and I'm going to try to see if I can remember to link the other person's video and the other man's comment regarding this particular topic, but this was a question that I asked the Most High probably about, well, actually, my husband asked me. Um, and then I also was wondering myself too, but I asked regarding Matthew chapter 22, and that's verse 23 through 33. So let's go ahead and pray. Abba Yah, just thank you for this glorious spring day that you've given us. We thank you for being here with us, leading and guiding us every single day. I pray, Heavenly Father, that through your Ruach HaKodesh, that you would be with my tongue and my mind, that you would speak through me your words of truth, and may be spoken in love and in power and in humility. And I pray that as this word is brought forth, may you give forth understanding and knowledge and wisdom regarding these things that you are establishing the kingdom, the united kingdom of Israel under, from the millennial reign and beyond. And I pray that we will rejoice in the great plans that you have for us. May we continue to be faithful to study, to show ourselves approved before you. Lead us and guide us into all truth by your Ruach HaKodesh. We thank you so much for your word that you've given us. Your word is life. And we say all these things in Yehoshua's name, Yeshua HaMashiach of Nazareth. Amen. Okay, so this word came forth on yesterday. Okay. I took the time. Don't mind me if I'm smacking a lot. It's just I got something in my mouth. So, well, I put something in my mouth. So it's a little interesting. Anyway, so this came on the first day of the first month, which was yesterday, a month of Aviv. And I wrote down in Ibri, obviously, what the text says in Bereshit. Hey, okay, that's Bereshit chapter 5. Okay, verse 1 and 2. But I'll lay the foundation. There was a lady who I don't think she's posted anything for 2 years, so I don't know exactly where she's at right now. I think it's like Debsy Eek or something like that. I don't know. But she posted she was sharing a dream that she had, and I thought was pretty fascinating. And a gentleman below her video, which was talking about I think it was talking about like kingdom marriages in the kingdom. This guy below wrote a very interesting comment. Obviously, I'm going to modify where he says Lord. I'm going to say Yah. Where he says God. I'm going to say Elohim. But I want to read what he wrote. And I actually, towards the last part, I've somewhat revised it because I want to show you I want to illustrate what he understood in part, just like we all understand in part. And so I'm going to read what he says. Yah calls both the man and the woman in a marriage covenant a son of Elohim. I will say that again. Yahuwah calls both the man and the woman in a marriage covenant a son of Elohim. A male on his own is not a son of Elohim. Neither is a female on her own a son of Elohim. They have to both be in an eternal marriage covenant to become a son of Elohim. Hence, we read, in the day Elohim created man, in the likeness of Elohim made he him. Male and female, he created them. and blessed them and called their name Adam in the day that they were created. Okay, I'll emphasize that again, what he mentioned. He put it in bold, their name, called their name Adam. And in the day when they were created. So we know from Genesis chapter 1 that Adam was formed or created, well, male and female, created on the sixth day of creation. So essentially, Adam with Eve inside of him, Hawa inside of him, were created on the same day. A man was not created apart from his female counterpart within him. Okay? I'm going to continue reading what he said here. He said, "Do you see it? When Elohim created Adam and breathed into him the breath of life, Eve was created in him at the same time, even though it was much later that Yah formed her from Adam's rib. The first man created was called Adam together with his wife. The first man created was called a son of Elohim together with his wife." Okay? And as I mentioned in another video, this same principle is mentioned in the book of Jubilees. I believe it was chapter 3 in the book of Jubilees. I mentioned it in another video. How Eve, it was mentioned in the book of Jubilees that Eve was already in Adam on the day that he was created. It's just that she wasn't formed out of his rib just yet, but she was still in him on the day he was created. This is how you define man. Man cannot be man without male and female, okay? This is what is being reiterated here as he was quoting from Genesis chapter 5, really verse 2. But I'm going to read in Ibri, verse 1 and 2. And then he also mentions another scripture, which I will get into, but let's go ahead and read this one. Bereshit, hey, okay, that's Genesis chapter 5. Ze Safer Tol Dot Adam Beyom Bero Elohim Adam Bid Mot, not Mot, Bimut, Bid Mut Elohim Asa O To. Okay, that was the first verse. All right, so you probably heard Adams several times. Ze, that means this. The first word is it's not Sadiq, Azayim. Okay, ZH. That just means this genealogy. Okay, this book of genealogy, Adam, in the day he was created, Elohim, okay, created Adam, Bid Mut Elohim. I'm trying to remember what Bid Mut means. I'll read it in English when I get there. Okay, so that was verse 1 in Ibri. Verse 2 is Zakar Un Queba Be Ra'am Wa Yi Bared Otam Wa Yikra Et She. Oh, I forgot a vowel dot. I think it's Shimon. Okay, hold on. Actually, I don't have it on here. I did this late last night, so anyway, I think it's Shimon, meaning like name, their name. Okay. Adam Beyom. He Um, Beram. Actually, I lost another vowel point. I must have been really tired when I did this one. Anyway, that is it. Okay, so let me read it in the English. Okay, Genesis chapter 5, verse. Oh, you know what? I might actually have written it correctly. Yes, okay, I did. It is Hebar Hebaram. And the other one was Sheman. Okay, I was right. Sheman. Okay, so Et Sheman, Adam, Beyom, he, Bar Am. Okay, that was the last part of verse 2. So Genesis chapter 5, verse 1 and 2 reads, "This is the book of the genealogy of Adam. In the day that Elohim created man, he created him in the likeness of Elohim." Verse 2, "Male and female, he created them, and he blessed them, and he called their name Adam in the day they were created." So when we're talking about the creation of man, including male and female, okay, we got to keep in mind that this was done in the realm of, obviously, there was no corruption. Man had not sinned. There was no incorruption going on. I mean, there was no corruption going on. They were incorruptible. Okay, at this point. So if you look here, what I wrote man. Okay, let me make sure I see it so you can see it. I wrote here man equals Adam. Man equals male and female. Adam equals male and female. Okay? So, therefore, we can conclude, based on just Genesis chapter 5, verse 1 and 2, the following: man equals Adam equals male and female. So, Adam could not be completely Adam as a man without the male counterpart and the female part, okay? Or the male part and the female counterpart. So, essentially, I wrote, so for every male, there must be a female to equal one complete man. And this will apply in the millennial reign and beyond, okay? This is the concept that he's had, as you can see, in the days of creation. And it will continue to be that way. Just as right now in our corruptible bodies, we have the marriage covenant where, there's a male and a female. That equals one complete man. And even beyond this point, it will still remain. So that's why in this principle we talked about, in the video I talked about the marriage covenant and how Yehoshua will have a one woman bride, because every male must have a female. Okay, even he, to be the son of Elohim, he must have his own counterpart, and so do the males underneath him. So do the kings under the King of Kings will also likewise have a female counterpart. They will have their queens. As I mentioned before, without a queen, there can be no king. Right now we call, essentially, look in the scriptures, we call Yehoshua the Prince of Peace. If you're a princess or a prince, you're not obligated to have a counterpart. If you're a prince, you're not obligated to function as a prince. You have to have a female, okay? Or if you are a princess, you don't have to have a prince, okay? In the sense of these titles of like prince and princess are like children. In a household with children, you have little girls and little boys, and you might call your little girls princesses, and you might call your little boys prince. Okay, so the same principle applies in the kingdom, in the family of Yahuwah. Now, there was a question that was posed. I mentioned it. My husband asked me, I was wondering myself, and he gave me understanding last night regarding this. Matthew chapter 22, verse 23 through 33. If you want to take the time to read through it, I knowing me, I'll probably go ahead and read it for you. Y'all know me. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, well, they could read it at home. You all might have busy lives. Who knows what y'all doing? This might be the only time you get a chance to actually hear anything. You have other things you have to deal with. I understand. So I'm gonna go ahead and read it for you. Okay? All right. Now, Matthew chapter 22, verse 23 through 33. The same day came to him the Sadducees, okay, the Sadducees, which say that there is no resurrection, and asked him, saying, Master, Moshe said, if a man dies and have no child, and his brother shall take her to him to wife, and perform the duty of a husband's brother unto her. And now there were with us 7 brethren, and the first, when he had married a wife, deceased, and having no issue, left his wife unto his brother, and likewise the second also, and the third unto the 7th. And last of all, the woman died also. Therefore, in the resurrection, whose wife shall she be of the 7? For they all had her. And this is what Yehoshua said. Okay, listen carefully to his statement. Okay, and you have to get beyond what you've learned in the churches, what people have told you, to catch this. Okay, verse 29. Yehoshua answered and said unto them, you do err, not knowing the scriptures, nor the power of Elohim. For in the resurrection they neither marry nor are given in marriage, but are as the angels of Elohim in heaven. But as touching the resurrection of the dead, have you not read that which was spoken unto you by Elohim, saying, I am the Elohim of your father, the Elohim of Abraham, the Elohim of Yitzhak, and the Elohim of Yaakov. Elohim is not the Elohim of the dead, but of the living. And when the multitude heard this, they were astonished at his doctrine. Okay, so I want to bring your attention to verse 28 and 29 and 30. Okay, verse 28, 29, and 30. Okay, they're saying, okay, these Sadducees don't believe in the resurrection. So they're like, well, and I guess in their minds, I don't know what they're thinking. I guess when you die, I guess this woman is supposed to belong to all these men. Now, Yehoshua answers and says, obviously, they don't understand what they're, where they're asking. They don't really understand what the scriptures are saying. So he elaborates. In the resurrection, they do not marry nor are given to marriage. Okay, in order for you to actually marry and then once again be given into marriage, someone has to die, right? So in the case of this wife, she has 7 husbands, and each husband, dies. So she marries another, and then he dies, and he marries, and then she marries another, and then he dies, and then she marries another brother. Okay, so he's saying there's not going to be death. Okay, where you're always constantly, okay, you died. Okay, now you're a widow. Now you're gonna go marry somebody else. Okay, all right. Once it's established who your partner is, it is, for eternity. Okay, I'm going to say it this way. When he talks about the angels of Elohim, okay, in the Shemayim, the angels of Elohim are 2 key things you got to focus about these angels. They are immortal and they are powerful. Okay, he wants to reiterate that there's no death. After the resurrection, there is no more death. So there's no need to marry and then someone dies and then you got to go marry somebody else, and then the other person dies and you got to go marry somebody else. No, what is set is set. Okay, you don't see a wedding ceremony per se for Adam and Hawa, for Adam and Eve, but it is Yah who appointed, okay, for man, the male and the female together to make one complete man. This same principle will apply for all of eternity. Throughout all of eternity, we will have this continually going on. Okay, as I mentioned in my video, kingdom marriage is the restoration of all things, and I described in that video how that happens. But there will be all these continual kingdom marriages, and these kingdom marriages will last throughout all eternity. Once a king is paired with his queen, that is going to be his queen for all of eternity, because you cannot have a man, a complete man, without a male and a female. This is the way Yah created in the beginning. And he gave that example to us through Adam, okay, with Eve within him. Okay. So this same principle is going to apply. So when we talk about Yehoshua having a bride, the kings under him, the King of Kings and Lord of Lords, the lords will have their, lordesses, the kings will have their queens. But that will be set for all eternity. Like the angels, they will be immortal and they will be powerful. Okay. That's the difference that Yehoshua is trying to mention here to these Sadducees, that there's not going to be any more death, that they're going to be immortal, okay, and they're going to be powerful. So there's going to be no need to marry, remarry, okay, married, they died, got to marry them again, got to marry somebody else, No, you have a set partner for all eternity. Boom. All right, that's the way he's going to set it up. Okay, this is what this verse is actually talking about. Okay, contrary to what we have learned in the churches, because he's not going to go against the design of how he made man. Okay, he made man always with a male and a female, and it will continue like that even into eternity. Just like for Yehoshua, the bride is not a part. The bride is not the whole body. It's like saying Adam's body, like all of Adam's body was his bride. We know that Adam's bride, wife, came from his rib. It didn't come from all his body. Okay, the same principle applies even throughout when we talk about Yehoshua. So I mentioned here that to be like the angels, remember that angels are immortal and powerful. So there's no more dying involved, which would require a man to marry a woman or a woman to be given into marriage. And that's the point that he was trying to make. But regardless, kingdom marriages like Adam with Eve are still the foundation of the United Kingdom of Israel under King Yehoshua's rule. Every king in the kingdom must have a queen, just like every queen must have a king in order to have a complete kingdom. Okay. And that is why when you see in the book of Revelation, Yehoshua is called the King of Kings and Lord of Lords. Okay. He being king has his own queen, and all the kings underneath him will also have their own respective queens, because you cannot have a male without a female. That's the way he's established it from the beginning. So just to reiterate, hence man equals Adam equals male and female. Okay, equals the son of Elohim. Now, the guy quoted from Luke chapter 3, verse 38, and I'll read further what the guy mentioned in the comment section below that lady's video, and I'll probably link her video into the description so you can see where that comment came from. He also quoted to just show what he's talking about. In the scriptures we read, now Yehoshua himself began his ministry at about 30 years of age, being, as it was supposed, the son of Joseph, the son of Heli, and he goes all the way down to verse 38, which says the son of Enosh, the son of Sheth, the son of Adam, the son of Elohim. Okay, so he's reiterating this concept that he mentioned about in order to become a son of Elohim, you have to have both male and female. Okay, that's the way Yah established it from the very beginning. We see that in Genesis chapter 1 and reinforced in Genesis chapter 2, and then pretty much reworded again in Genesis chapter 5, verse 1 and 2 that I just read to you. So with that, this is where I paraphrase it to give it more understanding. Now, as it was in the beginning, so it is now in Messiah. Okay, Yehoshua is the last Adam, and his bride is the last Hawa in his rib inside of his body, which is being made up of members, both male and female, who are in marriage covenants. But this first covenant originates from our Adon, Yehoshua HaMashiach, alone. Okay, so that's why you see the Apostle Paul mentions it again. Paul wrote, and this is what he put in his comments: we are members of his body, of his flesh, and of his bones. Now remember, I'm going to stop right there real quickly, and I'll go back and reread it, what he wrote. Remember that when he says we are members of his body, of his flesh, and of his bones, okay, just like Hawa was of his flesh and of his bones, there's other bones and flesh parts too, okay? There's other ribs, there's other bones and the body. Okay. So even in the body of Yehoshua, you have other parts of his flesh and bones, which we are a part of, members of his body. Okay, so keep that in mind. But in terms of one piece, a rib being taken out of his flesh and out of his bones, becoming the flesh of his flesh and the bones of his bones, that is the second Chawa. Now I'm going to continue to read. I'll read it again, what he wrote. Okay, and I won't stop. I'll just read it to the end. Okay. Paul wrote, "We are members of his body, of his flesh, and of his bones. For this reason, a man shall leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. This is a great mystery. But I speak concerning Messiah and the Ecclesiastes, the church, the assembly." Okay, you can find that in Ephesians chapter 5, verse 30 through 32. And so he concludes with this: what is this great mystery that has been kept hidden for thousands of years? Okay, that in order for us to become complete members of our Adon's body, we must be in a marriage covenant that will remain in existence forever. Okay, so this marriage covenant principle continues on and on and on. As I mentioned, these kings, I can show you what I wrote here. These king queens pairs under the marriage covenant established through Yehoshua, the Messiah of Nazareth, are permanent, eternal, lifetime pairs. These men, aka males and females, do not die, so that there is no need to marry and to be given in marriage. And they will be as powerful as angels, or even more powerful and mortal, like the messengers of Elohim. And the rest of the kings with their queens, Jehoshua will have his own queen as he reigns as King of Kings and Lord of Lords for all eternity in the kingdom of heaven, fulfilling the prophecies of the second Adam and the second Kawa, and uniting the house of Yehuda with the house of Israel. So every son of man, son of Elohim, must have his female to be counted as man. Otherwise, you are just counted as children. Okay? Because you don't require that for children, right? Here's just an illustration I drew. Okay, this is the body of Yehoshua. Okay, the second Adam, his rib. Okay, that one woman, the second Kawa, comes from the rib, who is a part of the body, who's a part of the church, but is just the rib part. You have other parts of his body, which are other members of the body, includes the 144,000, all right, that are part of his body. And some would say that the 144,000 are actually part of his loins, okay, coming from forth as a, I think the other guy was mentioned like as a man child or something like that. Anyway, but yeah. So I hope that illustration and talk was a good summary. Hopefully that brought some understanding, because I know some people yes, she knows who she is. She got a little bit disappointed. She got a little sad. She's like, "Oh, Yehoshua's only gonna have like one woman as a bride." But for each person who makes it to the kingdom as kings and queens, you will be assigned. If you are a male, you will be assigned a female for all eternity. And if you are a female, you will be assigned as a queen. You will be assigned a male as a king for all eternity. Okay. Otherwise, he wouldn't be King of Kings and Lords of Lords. Okay. As it says in the book of Revelation. Is it book of Revelation chapter? Let's turn to it. All right. Because when he right now, a lot of people in the spiritual realm who are alive are princesses and princes. Okay. But when you inherit your crown, you're going to be paired with somebody. Okay. If you are a male, you will be paired with a female, because you will not be a rightful king without your counterpart. Okay. This is the principle of the kingdom marriage. Of course, Yehoshua being up there on top and all the kings underneath him. Okay, I'm trying to find it here. I'll find it. I'll find it. Okay. I'll find it. There it is. Okay, verse. So just to reiterate, so after Yehoshua has his marriage supper, all right, um, gathering the rest. Okay. Yes, it's a blessing about those who are in the marriage supper of the Lamb. Okay, verse 16 of chapter 19 of Revelation. Chapter 19 of Revelation, verse 16, starting there. And he had on his vesture and on his thigh, really on his clothes, actually. It just says in the original Hebrew, just his clothes. A name written, Melech ha-Malakim, that means King of Kings, and Adonai ha-Adonim, that means Lord of Lords. Verse 17, okay? It just says, I saw an angel standing in the sun, and he cried with a loud voice, saying to all the fowls that fly in the midst of heaven, come and gather yourselves together unto the supper of the great Elohim. All right? So, as you can see, King of Kings and Lord of Lords, in order for him to be King of Kings and Lord of Lords, if he's going to have other kings under him, right? Those kings are going to have their queens. It's automatically understood because just like with Adam, as I read from Genesis chapter 5, verse 1 and 2, you can't have a complete man without a male and a female. All right? And so it will continue so into eternity. To say that there's going to be no pairing at all is erroneous. He set the example from the very beginning. So I hope that was a fruitful study for you all. I believe is very edifying. This is part of the gospel that is not preached. People don't understand why he's coming back, for what reason. Okay, if you listen to my video, we were born into a war. We didn't see. We were born to an unseen war, or something like that. We were born to a war that we didn't see. That goes into detail of why he did what he did. Okay, for all of us. Okay, not only his own bride, but also for all those who are a part of the bridal chamber, the children of the bridal chamber. Okay, and beyond that, for redeeming Adam's righteous seeds who join themselves to him. So with that, I want to say shalom, shalom. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments. Let it be pertaining to this, okay? Nothing negative, okay? We're here to learn and grow in the Ruach HaKodesh and to be transformed and be ready for that glorious grand kingdom. Hallelujah. All right. With that, shalom.